Hi guys, in this video, I'm going to share with you how I transferred or transplanted my Monstera Albo Borsigiana into a potting mix. So guys, after seeing that my Monstera Albo Borsigiana has already a lot of roots and it was more than 3 inches, then I was comfortable moving it into an aroid mix. So if you're not comfortable doing that, you can always transfer it in LECA with a little water, or you can transfer it in a pot with sphagnum moss and just mist the sphagnum moss twice a day and keep it moist until there are more roots. But with me, I'm so excited, so I went ahead and moved it into an aroid mix. So if you like this type of video, keep on watching. Composition for an arid mix includes the use of 20% potting mix with fine perlite, 30% chunky perlite, 30% orchid bark or LECA, 15% coco coir or peat moss, and 5% worm casting. Guys, don't count how many times I poured ingredients on this plastic bin. I'm eyeballing things around. Guys, the products that I'm using are my personal choice. You can also prepare a soilless aroid mix. It's really up to you. I'm adding perlite because it improves aeration, keeps the soil loose and well draining, and we can avoid soil compaction and prevent root rot. Adding orchid bark or LECA can also help the soil to be quick draining, and it can also retain moisture that the plant needs. Adding coco coir helps absorb water, and the peat moss holds the nutrients, and the activated charcoal gets rid of the impurities of the soil and prevents molds. You know how molds, when the soil is moldy, it can also cause root rot. I think preparing an arid mix, just listening to the sound is very therapeutic. Adding leca is also nice because it makes it chunkier, and the perlite also retains the moisture. And this is really good for this type of plant. Adding leca would make it look like Coco Pops cereal. When you transplant, you always prepare a pot with a drainage hole that will accommodate your roots. Guys, I always treat plants like a human being. I want my roots to lay and sit comfortably inside the pot without getting suffocated. Plants can get claustrophobic, and they can also experience having difficulties breathing inside a small pot. Cuttings with aerial roots rooted in water are believed to be fragile. It is much harder for them to seek water when transferred in soil. So guys, I'm just showing you how I'm laying the roots on top of more than an inch of soil that I placed in the bottom of the pot. You can always put something to support your cutting, like a dowel or a stick or a moss pole. I know moving your rooted cutting from water to soil is nerve-wracking and it elevates your anxiety, but you really need to do what you need to do, which is to move your plant into an arid mix to make it grow healthier. And you just have to remember that you need to have a good, well-draining soil and the right pot size. To avoid transplant shock, I use this formula called Super Thrive. And the instructions are at the back of the bottle. The instruction says to use this product, you need to use 1/4 of a teaspoon to a gallon of water. I just placed a tiny drop in this container filled with water. I used it to drench the soil and let it drain. Before transplanting a cutting, you should check the roots. If it turns brown or dark color like black, and when you touch it, it's soft and mushy, rinse it and prune it with a disinfected scissors or pruner. Soak your cutting in water with added fungicide. If you suspect a root rot, don't hesitate to transplant your cutting into another pot. I'm showing here that I'm transferring my cutting into a terracotta pot. I also place my cutting in a moss pole. It helps my newly transplanted cutting to be stable in the pot. Seeing this baby leaf made me happy and a little nervous. To acclimate my Monstera Albo, I placed it in an enclosure like a warden case, and I placed a small humidifier and also a humidity meter. So use a fine mister to spray the lower part of the stem to encourage the leaf to come out. I only turn on the humidifier if the humidity level is below 60. I close the enclosure or the warden case only during daytime and open it during nighttime for airflow. There are times that I only add glasses of water and also add more plants to increase the humidity level. Adding containers of water and more plants inside the enclosure really helps in reaching the desired humidity. So since it's winter time, I added a grow light, but I didn't point it directly to the plant. I just tilted it indirectly to provide bright light. A grow light can burn the leaves of a newly transplanted cutting, so I put it 2 meters away from the enclosure. Guys, if you don't have an enclosure, a greenhouse, or a cloche for your plant, you can always put it in a spot in your home where there's humidity, like closer to the kitchen or the sink. Guys, since the Monstera Albo is a rare tropical plant, we should try to imitate or mimic the environment where the plant can grow healthy. Guys, I always recommend to use a moss pole for your climbing plant like the Monstera Albo. Using a moss pole can encourage bigger leaves. This is called totem. I got it from Condesa. You can use a Velcro to attach your plant. You can use sphagnum moss or LECA. You can fill it in here. And you can let water trickle when you're watering to the bottom of the pot. To make my Monstera Albo happier, I moved the guy inside my greenhouse together with my other tropical plants. So guys, I hope this beautiful plant will thrive with lots of care from its plant momsy. So guys, I'll be giving you an update of this plant in a future video. So guys, if you find the video very helpful, don't hesitate to subscribe and hit the notification bell. So I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.